time. So anyhow, Jeff Ray is here. We know him as the Mango Hunter, and I first met Jeff, was it last year or the year before? Last year, I think it was.
Yeah, last
Last
year.
year when he found a Crespo mango at one of the stores and tagged us in a video that he did, and we all kind of thought, hey, who is this guy? What is he doing? Like, how can we get involved? Why isn't everybody in our industry talking to him? He's got kind of like a bat phone to consumers, and is a consumer, and is a mango geek, which is what a lot of people call people like us. And so over the course of the past year, I've developed a friendship with Jeff. We've given him mangoes, and we've utilized him for a lot of insight in terms of what the consumer sees and what they think. So today on 3-minute mango expertise, which always lasts longer than 3 minutes, I might add, we are going to pick Jeff's brain about the consumer and mangoes. So welcome to my not really a podcast kind of thing.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun because I've watched some of the other ones. They're
Oh
nice.
yeah, good.
Yeah, very informative.
Yeah, good, good. All right, so let's first start because I want people to know a little bit about you and how you started. I mean, I suppose technically you're an influencer, which isn't necessarily my favorite thing, but I think you're the best kind of influencer because you're not really asking for money for to put out kind of content. You're a guy that really loves mangoes and wants to get to the bottom of everything mangoes and learn about and share mangoes. So I think that's actually such an amazing description of mangoes. Not that I don't think you shouldn't get paid for doing mango work, and I hope somebody sees this and hires you for a show. The Mango Hunter would be a great show. We would all watch it.
Yeah, I mean um, that would be a great show to make. We've talked about it before, so you never know. Maybe I'll find somewhere to pitch it. But yeah, I mean, I just started because I love mangoes. That's simply the easiest way to put it. And a lot of what I do, I would be doing if I didn't have a camera here, anyways. And that's kind of why I started. Um, uh, I initially, when I was a kid, my parents were in the military and we lived in Panama for a few years. And that's where my love of mango started because we had a nanny who would take me out to our backyard where we had mango trees after like preschool every day. And we'd pick a mango off the tree and it would be like my afternoon snack. So that's why I love mangoes. And it kind of just continued on as I
You and
grew
I,
up.
you and I have talked about that because my first mango experience was in Nicaragua as a kid. So both Central American mango beginnings.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and then from there, it's been one of those things that's just like a personality trait that's like when people get to know me and make friends, they're just like, "Oh, you really like mangoes? Like, what's that about?" Maybe I'll tell them about Panama, but um, in my previous roles, I still work a day job and things like that. I would come into my different offices, doesn't matter kind of where the job is, and there'd be mangoes on my desk because my friends at work, my coworkers, know of my love of mangoes. Sometimes they would be like, "Oh, I thought of you at the grocery store," and they'd bring me mangoes. Um,
That's
and
beautiful.
eventually, uh, in my most recent job a few years ago, excuse me, they would always say like, "Hey, you should go on social media and just like do mango stuff because you love mango so much." And I never wanted to do it, but in 2023, I figured like, let me give it a shot and see how it goes. And I started first just reviewing the mangoes that I would get at the store, and then from there, I started to try to educate more and show people like different ways to cut mangoes, and, different recipes. Sometimes I'll do funny sketches. So it all is just mango centric fun that I try to create.
I know for us too, it's kind of funny too, because like we'll give you mangoes or you'll get our mangoes at stores and we're all kind of like trepidatiously like, we hope it's good because we know you're going to review it. And I think that's great. And that's why I've encouraged, and I will continue to encourage our industry to send you mangoes, to inform you about mangoes. But I want to take one step back first too, because there is a part of you in all of this that's also a video maker. So I want to make sure people understand that, like, it's not like you just kind of like started doing this. Like, your talent is in video making, and so you've combined these two passions to create this fun little mango hunter gig.
Yeah, I think the part of that, and especially it tends to stand out sometimes when people want to talk to me about the videos. They'll be like, "Oh, how do you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, you have to remember my day job is in video production, so I do this a lot, especially since a lot of my work now is from home, as a way to kind of stay sharp with my skills. Like you can't see it right now, but I got a light right here, and I have my camera, like real camera, behind me because before we started the call, I was making the Thai noodle
Oh, yes.
salad with mango. So I have a big steak over here to my right, and once we finish the call, I'll get back to making it. But yeah, it was just a way for me to kind of find ways to get creative and film on my own while also just incorporating what I love, which is mangoes.
And people don't realize, I think this is something that people don't realize about the way that social media works today, is that video creation is not easy. The majority of people out there creating really good, high quality content, they are spending a lot of time or serious skills that they have acquired through a lot of time and energy in making these. It's not so easy to just put together fun videos, is it?
No, it's it's very difficult, but thankfully, like it's definitely for this. It's the intersection of what I know how to do and what I love. So
Mm.
even though like there are times where I'm, up at, midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., like doing a voiceover or editing or putting out like a fourth draft of the video, like I enjoy it. But it's definitely not easy. And I definitely watch every video each week and try to figure out like what I can fix or if I need to get a new piece of equipment to help, improve the look. Um, so it is really just a process.
All right, so let's now get into the hard-hitting consumer questions. So one thing that I have discovered through my communication with you is that you ask a lot of questions that we get via email through consumers, on social media, etc., which, reminds me to remind our industry that there are a lot of questions out there about mangoes. We at Crespo really try and do a good job on that culinary commodity education kind of side of it. It's not easy to do. We try to do it. And part of the reason that we try and do that is because there's so many people asking kind of these questions. So I want to ask kind of like two questions. Like, number one, what are the questions you get asked most about mangoes, and what are they the same kind of questions that you started out on this mango hunter journey asking also?
That's a good question. I think I do get asked some of the same questions that I had at the beginning. A lot of times right now, I feel like I get asked a lot about the different kinds of mangoes people can get at the store, mostly because that question will then lead into them asking about types of mangoes other than Tommy Atkins. Because even though, like last year
Want to
I made a
you
lot
want
of
to
fun of Tommy
confess to the
Atkins.
crowd that you're a Tommy Atkins hater? No, I'm just kidding.
No, no. If anything, I would like to eat humble pie in public and reiterate my love for Tommy Atkins. Like as much as I will make fun of it just because it's an easy target, I
Yeah.
use it in so much of my cooking. I made the mango pit syrup I have in the fridge of Tommy Atkins. I I will happily go to the store and get a Tommy Atkins mango, though I will be more particular about the ones I pick.
Yes.
Um, but people usually they start with like, "Oh, my mangoes are always so stringy. How can I fix that?" And I'm like, "Okay, well, if it's really stringy, that's probably a Tommy Atkins." The easiest fix for that would be grabbing a tufo, just because I don't, some people don't have the time to spend in the mango section that I do.
Yes.
I spend time in the mango section at the grocery store every time I go. And I know that not everyone is like that, but that's
The
the
fact that
biggest question
there
I get.
the fact that there are even mango sections nowadays is a big deal. Probably 5, 6 years ago, it was like a little basket in the back of the banana display or something. So I'm happy that both in mainstream, conventional, mass markets, organic markets, everybody, has these multiple displays of multiple mangoes to get. So people are asking you about varieties and they want more variety. That is something we know to be true, but I want to talk about that a little bit because I think that our industry forgets that a little bit. And you watched my interview with Norris Ledesma, Dr. Norris, and like that's her whole thing is that it's not as difficult to do as we make it out to be. And so let's talk about how much consumers do want variety. Let's talk about how you want variety in a mango.
Yeah, I think, well, I've been grateful and blessed to have access to more variety now that I do these videos, thanks to you and the people you've introduced me to. So I've been getting more access to different mangoes. And I think figuring out a way to do that on a larger scale will be great because the second question that I often get from people is like, where do you get your mangoes? And I think they think that I have like a secret like mango store that I don't tell them about because they're like, oh, where do you go? Because like, where's like the good spot? And I'm like, man, most of the time,
We should open up a mango store, I think, one day.
well, I mean, I've been trying to look. I mean, I know it's such a tough business, but I'm always like asking you questions about kind of shipping and distribution and things like that because I would I would love to do something like that or figure out a way to get more varieties to people. Um, but what I do now is like I do what I can where I am, which is when I get the shipments in, I try to share them with the people who end up in my DMs a lot, asking me questions, and providing a lot of engagement to the videos to be like, hey, I've got these special mangoes. Like I might not be able to use all of them, here, try this Nam Doc Mai, try this Q Savoy. And it kind of blows their minds and opens them up to what really could be. So that is a big question is how people can get access to these different varieties outside of doing what I do, which is sometimes I'll have to go online and order from, like Mango and Homestead or try different sites and order just cases of mangoes. Everyone doesn't want to order a case of mangoes like me. They might just want one or two.
Yeah, it's true. And not always, I mean, and like you and I have talked about this before, it's not so easy to ship mangoes in a box in the heat of the summer. I mean, it's the same. I mean, I live in the middle of nowhere in Missouri, so I'm always constantly trying to ship crazy fruits and vegetables to my house. And it's really always a hit or miss. I try California avocados every year, and they're sometimes I'm even scooping them up out of the box just to make some guacamole because I'm that excited about it. But you and I have both had good success with Mango Man Homestead mangoes. So let's definitely shout out to them because they produce a lot of variety and they do ship it to people's doors and they do a great job. And you and I have both experienced some really good, fantastic tasting mangoes from them.
Yeah, specifically for me, everything I got from them was great, but the ones that like I will still wake up and like dream about or wake up thinking about are the coconut cream mangoes
Yes.
and the emerald mangoes.
Emeralds.
So if anyone decides to order from them, get on the mailing list, and when you see those in the email, pull the trigger. It's worth
Grab
the
it,
money.
grab it, grab it. All right. So let's talk about consumers and their curiosity and questions about how to choose mangoes. I know you get a lot of questions about those. I know that you talk about it a lot on your channel. So let's talk a little bit about that.
I get asked how to choose mangoes a lot, and I've been trying to figure out a couple of fun videos to make about that. Um, for me, like I don't know, I don't have a specific secret. You know, sometimes I'll pick a mango, sometimes it'll be bad. But I do look at the aesthetics of the mango. Um, I look at the sticker because I sort of at this point like know what stickers I can trust and what stickers I can't trust. Um,
And
in
the
terms of like
Crespo's
the
up there,
provenance
right?
of
The
it.
Crespo sticker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I see a Crespo or RCF, like I know I can trust that. And I tell people like if you see Crespo or RCF, those are two that you can trust. Um, but there's other ones that like it's hit or miss or that I won't even touch at all.
Yeah.
Um, I'll feel the mango, I'll smell the mango. It just has to like look right to me. Like the color has to be beautiful. Like I don't need the perfect mango. Um, but I never go looking for a mango that I'm gonna get and eat today. I think that is what I try to tell a lot of the people that talk to me about that because I think they go looking for like the mango that they want to get and eat that day. And I'm like,
But
I wouldn't do.
I think that's also a message that our industry or a confusion of communication between consumers and our industry is that we're creating these the ideology that we're creating these displays of ready to eat mangoes, but yet no one's really buying a mango and going and eating it in their car. Like
Yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
taking them home, things happen, you've got children, spouses, jobs, workout, work, this, that. So like I don't think that many people are eating them right there. I think that that's the that and even I think the people that think they aren't. And so
yeah,
I think there's a lot of mangoes that end up going bad. And that's one of the things we really try and teach people is we want to teach you how to pick the mango so that you have a few days and you can decide and then kind of sometimes the mango dictates when you're going to eat it, versus when you want it. And like, I'll be satisfied if I'm making something where it may not be perfect, but I need to open it now, even though I know if I had waited a day later, it would have been better. And we've had a lot of chefs on our Let's Ask the Chefs that'll say, ideally, always, if you wait one more day, it's better, but this is what
yeah,
we need, we need it now kind of thing. So I think that's an interesting kind of thing.
yeah.
No?
I mean, that's one of the things I learned early on is as much as I might want the mango, um, one more day, give it one more day. If I'm unsure, give it one more day, unless I need to cook with it for a video or because I'm going to go out of town or something like that. Um, Thanks to you, I've also learned more about freezing the mangoes. So I have a freezer full of mangoes right now. So it's like, even if I don't have any at the moment, I still have some I can pull out and thaw real quick and use them in a recipe if I need to.
I don't even have
Um,
any in my freezer yet. I'm behind schedule or whatever. But what was I gonna say? I was gonna ask a question and I lost my train of thought. I'm definitely not gonna win a podcast. What do you call the podcast awards? What are the podcast awards called? Um
I don't know. I didn't even know they had awards.
I think they do now or whatever. Anyhow, all right. So what about oh, I think I know what I was gonna say. So one of the things I've learned too is how to eat the mangoes and enjoy them in different stages. So I tend to like a greener mango. And so I'm also not buying one mango. When I have mangoes, I usually have like 10. And there's like kind of multiple ones. And depending on whatever they're ripening differently. I think that they ripen much better in a group than they do just one mango. And so I tend to kind of enjoy them in different stages. That way I can eat with them. I can eat just one. I always like to eat it on its own when it's a little bit greener. That's my Central American little girl liking it like that. So I think that's also something about understanding to eat them in different stages is okay, or to use them in different stages is okay.
Yeah. That's something I'm still learning because with the sweet tooth that I have,
Mm.
I want the mango as sweet as possible. But between you and friends that I have up here who love the kind of greener mangoes that have more of a tart taste, that's something I would like to get into and try. I can never bring myself quite to do it because it's like, oh man, I just love
Because you
a
wait one more
nice.
day, yeah.
Yeah,
But
if I wait one more day, it's way sweeter. But I know that it's the tartness and kind of the unripe mangoes definitely have application in cooking, which I need to kind of dig into.
so you must love the Nam Doc Mais then, because they tend to be ultra sweet, but also have a great kind of tart floral aspect that I love. I mean, I do not like a sweet mango unless I'm cooking with it. So, but the Nam Doc Mais to me are very different. I think they're one of the most fabulous mangoes out there right now.
They're so unique, and I remember when I you guys sent me some last year, I was blown away. One at the flavor, but also like how my kitchen smelled when I cut them open. So
Yeah.
much so that made me like want to figure out how I could like develop my own like mango based cologne because I was like, I need to bottle that smell and just have it available so I can just wear it like all summer.
I just took, I think you had seen, I just taken a bunch of customers to Mexico, and we were touring the dried mango pack house. And in the very
Mhm.
last kind of portion of it where they're packing all the dried fruit, the smell was so heavenly, and everybody talked about how we wish there was a mango perfume. There is actually
Yeah,
there's a brand, I hate to talk brands, but there is a brand of perfume. They do natural, beautiful natural perfumes. It's Heretic, and they have a mango perfume. It kind of smells like mango flowery. It's good. It's nice. It's not my fruity isn't my scent, but yeah, it's nice. What other questions are consumers asking you?
often it's a lot of kind of the general questions in terms of like how to cut mangoes, um, when they can eat them. I think with the amount of recipes we've been doing and kind of cooking with them, uh, that's opening people's eyes into what they can do with them kind of in the kitchen, aside from cutting them up, cutting them into slices to give to their kids, etc. One of the recipes that I did in the fall, based off one of your recipes, was the mango dulce de leche. And that one not only blew my mind, but like whenever I talk about it now, because I can't stop talking about it and telling people, I think that's what kind of like unlocks the real interest in people because they're like, "Wait, you did what?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, and then I turned that into ice cream, and they're just like, "Oh
I mean,
wow, I didn't
honestly,
know you could do all
that
these things
that
with mango."
was that that was I had been for several years I had played around with using mangoes to make caramel, the concept of, and remember, like I have a background in culinary and all that, so I don't, this was not like far fetched that I'm playing around with that. And there was a part of me that I was like, why would it take me so long to make dulce de leche with mangoes? And then I did, and like I turned mine into flan, and it was like, this is the best flan I've ever had in my life. I think about that flan all the time too. And I thought about it the other day, and I was like, can I eat warm, spiced, toned flan in the summertime? And I'm like, okay, yeah. So I too can't wait to, yeah. And I thought about it too, because right now, when the mangoes are at their best, is when we should be making that. Maybe we can freeze mango dulce de leche. I'm going to try that. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. And I think this fall I'll probably try to make the flan, but the dulce de leche, I feel like it's so tasty, but it's also so versatile because I made it with ice. I put it in ice cream, but I also put it on like a cheese board that I had with my wife one night, and I was just blown away at how well it paired with both sweet and savory.
And do you think that I mean, I know the answer to this, but I think I want to kind of talk about it and share more with the listeners, in that people really don't know how much they can do with mangoes in the kitchen. And it's like we just had, like, in my mind it's been a smoothie item, and now we're taking it to, it's like one of the most versatile ingredients in the culinary world, and in particular at a time when people are trying to eat healthier with less fat, less sugar. I mean, I can use mangoes as a medium and eliminate all those things. And so I'm happy to discover that more people are wanting to do that and curious about what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, it was also a learning process to start just experimenting more. Um, that's why I'm glad that I can always sort of go to your blog as like my starting point because there's like infinity mango recipes there. And one of my favorite ones that I'm going to make again soon for this summer is the um, mango relish. I
Oh, the
made
mango
that last
pickle relish.
year. And
I made that for the 4th of July. And like, hey, look, I'm not a hamburger hot dog kind of person, but I made brats and the mango pickle relish. And I tell everybody about that recipe. And I say, like, it blows my mind that it would be so good, but it's so good. Yeah. Yeah.
like, and I don't even like relish. Like, it's not something I enjoy. So I made that and was like, what have I been missing?
Well,
But
I
I
think
mean, regular relish is not the same as the mango pickle relish. That's just something totally different.
the way my mind works in culinary development with mangoes is that I, unlike you, do not have or maybe I do have a sweet tooth, but it's kind of adverse to sugar.
Yeah,
So things that are too like sugary, like really land on my palate in a not pleasant way. So I
yeah.
think that's why I love using mangoes as a sugar source, um, because it's that like perfumed sweetness, like a pear almost has the same sort of like perfumey sweetness. And so I think they just kind of work really well. What kind of things do you think that we in the industry can do a better job of so that consumers have more information so that they buy more mangoes?
I mean, it seems like the thing is just the information about education on how to use them. But in terms of, I feel like the tough part is like, how can the producers put out this product, but also educate the people as well, you know? Um, that's the tough part because people will ask me all these questions about mangoes, but they are all very basic questions. And sometimes I'm like, what? How do you not know this? But it's like the mango is still kind of like a foreign exotic fruit to a lot of people. Um, so I'm not sure how, aside from like putting the recipes on the on the display somehow, how like if you get trying to think of some sort of you'll get like a some sort of food item that'll have the nutrition facts, but it'll also have like a couple of recipe ideas, like the Ritz Cracker Box. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how the mango industry does something like that for the mango, but I
You
think something
think
like that would be
Have
helpful.
you encountered our mango bins out there in the wild? You probably haven't. Like, so we've started to do stuff like that, and I agree, and I do agree with you that like we as Crespo are a little bit of a different story because my culinary background kind of allows us to be the producer and the person putting out commodity education. But I think also like my advice, even though this isn't my mango expertise show, it's about you. But my advice really is for people to kind of like, when they find people like you that are out there influencing and not influencing in a way that's just transactional, influencing in a way that's really authentic, right? I think that's what creates the most success in our world today is that authentic kind of like connection and the chains linking up. And it's like when you encounter someone like yourself, like utilize them, like feed them. Like this is why I'm surprised that you're not be like there's not like a wall of mangoes behind you with everybody saying, hey, help us, help us do that, and other people. And like it's not easy. I mean, it's hard to FedEx people mangoes, and it's hard to, you know think of content as valuable and education as valuable. It's hard for a lot of people in our industry to think of marketing as valuable. And I think that I guess that's kind of maybe what I'm trying to like extract here is that it is valuable, is it not? And like for those of us who are doing it, do you feel that it's impacting consumers?
I think so. I mean, even on, I would say like the scale that I'm at, which I'm not going to say is huge, but I see that in the sphere of influence that I'm having in the people in my life. Um, I am able to see how they are now working more with mangoes. They're being more mindful about how they pick mangoes at the store, and they're seems like they're learning from the videos that I make in terms of, how they interact with mangoes. In terms of basically, I'll get messages or photos from friends on WhatsApp or Instagram of like, oh, check out what I bought at the store today. And it'll be, either Crespo mangoes or mangoes with like another brand or something that is, I would say Mango Hunter approved.
Yes.
Usually not the non-approved ones, which I don't like to shout out unless people ask me in person. Um,
And
but I do see people doing more with them.
how do you answer the questions? And I know, how do you answer the questions? Because I know you get a lot of them. We get a lot of them in that when there are mangoes that are bad, like when somebody buys a mango, especially if somebody has paid a lot of money for a mango, which
Yeah.
they have in this past year, and they cut it open and it's black or something like that. Like, how do you respond to people that ask you that question? And how do you think more of us should respond in trying to get the real answers out to people?
How I respond typically, like when that happens to me, the first person I go to is you, because I know that you will have usually the answer on like what technical thing may have caused that, as opposed to just being like, oh, this mango sucks, pass it away and move on. So that way, when it does happen to my friends, because we've all had a bad mango here and
Yeah.
there, I can explain like, hey, sometimes you get a bad mango. That particular instance can be caused by this, or that. So they know, and I think the knowledge of those reasons um, helps people decide to give it another shot. I
Like
think not knowing
mangoes,
that information.
like mangoes in the cooler probably was really good information. I think that most people that know that they're not supposed to be in the cold cooler section of their grocery store, once they know that, they're not as surprised if they buy it and cut it open and it's almost like a self-blame at that point, or
Yeah,
um than that, and it's like, it's not to say that it doesn't work and that you're not going to get a lot of mangoes, but I know like here at a lot of my local grocery stores where I live, most mangoes are in the cooler, and 5 out of 7 or 10 of them are usually totally black inside. And it's a bummer, to spend, $3 on a mango and it be black inside, not even edible, not even like you can cut the bad part of the peach away.
yeah. And I mean, just for me knowing that now, when I go to the store, if I go, because there was a time where I would go check the mangoes out and they weren't in the cooler, but they still had the condensation on them, like they just came out of a cooler. So I'd be like, okay, well, these are clearly ice cold mangoes that came from somewhere ice cold. I'm not even going to buy any of these today. I'll go to a different store. And I have friends now that, since I've been talking about that a lot this summer, they also know like, oh, if I'm at the store and the mangoes are ice cold or they're in a cooler, don't even buy any. Just go to another store and find one where the mangoes are out. That also helps because,
Go ahead.
oh, I think still a lot of people will buy mangoes and then they'll just put them in their fridge. And that's one of the things I'm like, just leave them out on the counter. They're going to eat them in a few days. They're not going to, you know, I mean, ideally they won't go bad unless you forget about them. But
I
I
mean,
never put my mangoes in
it
the
takes
fridge.
a long time. I forget about them a lot, and I'm like, all right, well, this is a hot sauce now.
Mhm. Or sometimes it's a surprise. You forget about it for just the right amount of time. And then you're like,
And it's
oh, there's the
perfect.
mango. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, do you think that some stores take better care of the mangoes than others?
Yeah, I think so. Um, Honestly, I think just smaller stores do, but I can't always say that because I've been to like an organic store near me, and um, their mangoes had just come out of a cooler or a freezer or something. But they typically do care for them better, that specific store. So I gave them the benefit of the doubt that one time.
Yeah.
Um, but I was just at my local grocery store, like the big box grocery store this week, and I was looking at the mangoes two times, and it's like they had good mangoes, but they just, I don't know. It seemed like they just like threw them against the wall or something. Like they just were. I was like, I would have get some of these, but they've all been like so kind of dumped around and manhandled so much they were like kind of mushy. So I was like, maybe if I wanted to make hot sauce or do something with them, and maybe that's an educational video I can make next for people, where it's like, let me go to the store, get a bunch of really ugly, bad looking mangoes, show you how you can salvage them so they don't just completely go bad.
Yeah.
Because they're still usable, but they just don't look great. We all know the kind of things we have in America with wasting perfectly good fruit and produce that just doesn't look as pleasant as we want it to.
And there are a lot of aesthetic things that don't matter when it comes to mangoes. So, but I actually find that when a store takes good care of mangoes, their consumers are forgiving about some of the cosmetic defects. Automatically, there's an energy or something that kind of translates from display to consumer of trust that
Yeah,
I think works well. And I do think that there are some stores that do take really good care of their mangoes, but I think that up until recently, mangoes were not a really popular category. And I think some people are catching on slower to the idea of that, just like the big displays of peaches and plums and nectarines and grapes and melons, mangoes are now a summer staple. You know, can you even imagine not enjoying mangoes the way you enjoy stone fruit?
I can't. And I feel like it would be really nice if we could figure out how to like make like mango consulting a job, because I would be first in line to travel around the country and like educate the different stores on how to care for them and keep them looking great and attractive to their customers to hopefully sell all of them out every summer.
Yeah. Well, we will shelve that idea with the idea of the mango grocery store and the mango book and the mango TV show. And pretty soon we should probably start our own production company since we're going to be doing all these things.
Yeah, it would be a good idea.
All right. So what is your favorite mango? I mean, I know the emeralds.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I gotta say, even though I paid the money and got the Japanese mango a few weeks ago,
Oh yeah.
um, it was great, but the emerald mango, like, if anyone can get your hands on an emerald mango,
And where was I can't remember the emerald mango. It was from what, South America originally, or what was its story?
honestly, I'd have to look it up or go back to my video on it. I want to
Yeah.
say South America or Florida or something like that, but it tastes like a mango, but also not quite. It just was a whole new flavor profile to me when I had it, like a
Florida.
whole new different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like for the people in Florida, I don't know if that's a like a one of the just normal trees that just are everywhere in Florida. You could just walk down the street in Florida and grab an emerald mango, but if you can, go do it because
They're
they're
good. They're good. I remember the two that you mentioned today were my two favorites out of the my Mango Man Homestead shipment I got last year too, the coconut cream and the emerald. The emeralds, I loved the texture of it. The coconut cream was immaculate, dreamy, and all of that. What's your favorite kind of mainstream varietal?
I think my favorite mainstream is probably going to be. It goes back and forth mostly because I can't remember which is which, but the Kent or the Keat.
Ah,
Um, just because I enjoy the Atulfo. It's always like it's like the fail-safe mango for me. Like if I need a good mango, I just need to get my fix. I get a Atulfo. But the Kent or a really good Kent or really good Keat, I think are the ones that like bring me closest back to like the core memory of being in Panama. And to be honest, I don't even know if those were the ones that I ate in Panama. But for me, like when I eat a very good Kent or Keat, like it just takes me
It was
to
probably,
that.
I mean, I remember in Nicaragua there was Kent's or whatever. My favorite is of the mainstream is the Hayden, which we don't see a lot on the organic side of things. They tend to be pretty small and they're not necessarily as commercially, small fruit isn't as commercially viable on the organic side, but because they're very perfumey. So I do like that. All right. And you mentioned it at the beginning that you're working on a recipe. So I'll give everybody a little bit of background. For Mango Mania, one of the things we do with you is play Mango Hunter recipe roulette. And so your viewers vote on one of our recipes, and then you make it and judge us about it. And how's that gone? How's that gone so far this summer?
It's gone good. The first one was the mango ceviche. Usually when I put up the voting, I sort of have something. I already know which one that I want to make, so it's up to the people voting to like match with me or not. And on that one, they matched with me because I think everyone wanted to see that one because they probably. I don't think
To
they
make
knew
it.
what the sauce was. Um, but also like I love ceviche. Like I would do that without the video. But this week we're doing the Thai noodle salad with avocado and mango, and that's great. I'm excited for it, but it wasn't the one that I wanted to make.
What was the one
So
you wanted to make?
I wanted to make the mint and melon
Yeah.
salad because like I'm not even really big into cantaloupe, but I was like, that sounds interesting. And I saw something recently where someone was eating cantaloupe with prosciutto. So like my brain was like, oh, what would that really taste like? But then when I looked at the thing on Instagram, it was like at first it was like 90% for the Thai noodle salad. And I was like, oh man. But it evened out. But that doesn't mean I can't make these other recipes. So this week we'll be doing the Thai noodle salad, and then I'll definitely make the mint and melon salad with the
The
I
Thai
forgot how
noodle
mango.
salad, the Thai noodle salad is absolutely glorious. So you won't be sorry, especially if you made sure like to have the fresh herbs with it. Cause like that's my thing is fresh herbs. And so, and the mango melon salad, it's the same thing. That idea, that recipe originated from also a Thai recipe, the Thai melons. Sometimes it's just like fresh melon with a little bit of honey lime drizzle and some chili and herbs. And that's really kind of like that. But you just got my brain thinking about mango melon and the fried caprese or caprese or what is it? Oh, calabrese sausage, because I just made a recipe like that.
Mm,
So now my brain's percolating on that because I'm always loving to do more savory recipes. And I think that also like I think that consumers need more savory recipes because there's all kinds of recipes already for sweet things with mangoes, but I don't think people know the savory delicacy of mango. Does that make sense?
yeah. And I think honestly, I've been having more fun doing the savory items. I love the sweet items, but like I'm just as happy just eating a sweet mango. So to be able to use them in a savory dish and like use them in dinner, um, that's exciting for me.
All right, one last question for you. What is your recipe you would like to do with mangoes?
Mm. Well, one, I mean, it's not quite a recipe, but I'm definitely interested in like going down the rabbit hole and figuring out my own mango fragrance.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there you go.
so I'm kind of researching that. But in terms of a recipe, I want to do more. And I know I just said I love doing. I'm interested in doing savory, but like I'm still not done with the exploration of mango ice cream. So I'm trying to figure out a way to do that. And I haven't messaged you about it, but I wanted to because I wanted to kind of get a little weird with it and maybe not go specifically sweet, but I was like, how can I figure out like mango and like jalapeno or like mango and tagine or some sort of like weird kind of flavor combination in the ice cream. And then the other one, which I'll tell you now, maybe this might, work in your brain for something is because people love to do that tagine or tahine
Uh-huh.
stuff on the mango. I'm not super into that, but it's fine. But it made me think, I was like, what about, because I'm from, the mid Atlantic, I was like, what about mango and Old Bay? Like, I
Huh.
feel like that could be like a Maryland version of like the tahine, like on the mango.
It could, I
And
just came out with the salts for fruit or whatever. And I don't know, that's pretty interesting. And
yeah,
to circle back with ice creams, one of the problems, and it's not a problem with mangoes as ice cream, but typically you're pureeing mango. So it's technically ideal. That's ideal for a sorbet. So
yeah,
I don't love sorbet. I want the creaminess of ice cream. So for me, I like you, I'm always trying to experiment, with that. So one of the things that does work really well, and this is why your dulce de leche works so well, is like taking all the water content out of the mango and just kind of being left with the essence. So the more you can play around with the essence of mango in your ice cream. So one of my favorite mango ice creams that I've made is like a light mango ice cream because you can't put too much puree in it before changing the
yeah.
texture. And then mango jam or mango jam ripples and
Oh,
chili white chocolate.
okay. See, I was gonna go in that direction, but I was gonna do chili dark chocolate. So maybe chili white chocolate makes more sense.
Well, I mean, honestly, one of the reasons I chose it that way is because I didn't want to make a ganache, and white chocolate doesn't get as hard as dark
Okay.
chocolate or whatever. So, but it doesn't really, matter or whatever. But I do think that's kind of the key to making the mango ice creams is understanding that to use it, you really have to do it with the essence versus like all that puree that you're going to kind of move down. Now we're moving into the Kents. I'm going to give you a great idea. We'll end with some ideas here. So, do you have a juicer?
No.
All right. Well, that's okay. So you can make it Kent mangoes, which now should be everywhere, are
Hmm.
extremely, extremely juicy. They're one of the things I look forward to Kent's on is that I start to like technically juice mangoes, which you can do in a blender with water, but then strain the all the pulp out of it, which you can use for other things. And then you can take that and make that into a really thick syrup. So almost like a mango concentrate, like extract, if you will.
Yeah.
And then kind of add that into your ice cream.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's good to know. And
The
I,
other varietals aren't as juicy.
yeah,
The Nam Doc Mais would be good. The Malikas make excellent ice cream. So you're gonna get Malikas this week. They make excellent ice cream. Sorry about the dog. It's dinner
no,
time.
it's okay. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's the best advice you can give to people approaching a mango display?
Um, Honestly, just take some time, sniff them, feel them, look at them, find the one that like speaks to you in terms of like the color. Like for me, it's like trying to, it's weird, but it's like trying to buy art. So I look for like one that the color kind of gradient just speaks to my soul, And when I find it, I might give it a smell. If it smells okay, that's fine, and I'll go. Like typically, I smell it just to kind of see what it smells like. The smell's not going to tell you if it's ready or not. Um, but for me, just finding one that the colors kind of just look nice, doesn't look like it's too beat up, doesn't it look like it has bruises or like mushy spots. Um, and if you can find one that has the Crespo or the RCF sticker, then yeah, those two things, go for that.
That's great. And hey, and like that is legitimately what you think. So I feel like we're doing a good job because a lot of people think that way. And you know, as a consumer now, what a lot of consumers don't know in the past year that we've been talking is that it is really not easy to take a mango in such large scale production and get it to your neighborhood store.
Yeah, I've been learning so much more about that. Now, like in my head, even though I still have a lot more to learn, I'm always trying to think about like how could how can we improve it? Is there anything that I'm missing? Like that's why I'm always asking you questions because I'm like, oh, is there something, maybe if we keep talking about it, like we'll figure out solutions together to make it easier to get everyone amazing mangoes.
Well, and that is, we'll end on that note because that's the exact premise of why I started this 3 minute mango expertise, which was really just the more we talk about mangoes together, the more we all learn, and the more our trajectory of whether it's selling more, eating more, supporting our communities with more, developing more recipes, whatever. In my mind, I call that all more mango joy. Then I think that it kind of starts just by talking. So I really appreciate your time, and I always appreciate the mango joy you bring to the table.
Awesome. Well, thanks for teaching me and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Okay.